We are at the end of our day sessions. This is our final session. I trust you guys have been having a good day so far, enjoying this event, this conference so far, everything that all of the speakers on this stage have been sharing, the insight that they have been giving. I hope you've been inspired, empowered to continue your story of success and defining success for yourself. So this speakers panel is basically for you, the audience. It's an open forum. We want you guys to ask any questions you might not have been able to ask in previous sessions. Something may have just came to your mind that you may wanted to ask. This is open to you guys. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm just going to open the floor, and you guys can pick a speaker, pick a group of speakers, or pick each speaker. It's up to you, and ask away.
I would like for each of you to please share, and it could just be one because this is a panel question that I am asking. Could you share with us one leadership principle that you have each authentically learned in your journey to your respective successes? That's one leadership principle.
I'll start. I think one principle I've learned is a principle of patience.
That's great.
I think it's very important to be patient. And my dad, I think I say this all the time because this is a lesson that I've learned and I understand the importance of it. When I first moved home to work with my dad, I always felt like he took long to make decisions.
Wow.
And it was almost a pet peeve for me to a certain extent. And I would get frustrated and I would be like, why do you take so long to make what I would thought a simple decision? And as he never really even answered me. You know, he never was like, you know, this is why, that is why. I began to observe him, his decision making, and as I began to when I submitted myself to him,
that's great.
I started to realize the importance of what he was doing. And for him, the decision or making a decision today, he understands the effects of that decision 5 to 10 years from now.
Wow.
So that for him was more important than the now. It was how would this affect me, my family, my organizations? How would this decision I'm making affect everything 5 to 10 years from now? So patience, for me, is the number one leadership skill I've developed and learned.
Great,
for sure.
thank you.
For me, what I've learned is, well, you put others in a position, surround yourself with others who could shine and complement your business as a leader. Because when I started out, I was the everything, the accountant, the agent, the hairdresser. I should have used your products. But anyway, I was the everything. So, but now, like if I need a proposal or something, I have someone who's so good at that.
Wow.
You know, and even with accounts and everything. So right now I've set up an amazing team. And so, you know, I'm able to just focus on my craft, which is drawing. And I found that it's so liberating that you can appreciate somebody when you allow them to do what they do at their best ability. And I think like Michael Jordan, LeBron James right now, the good thing about him is he make the players around him better. So that's the principle I learned. You know, you don't just try to hog up the spotlight, but you give others the opportunity to shine as well.
Thank you.
Yes, can I go? In my last 48, I've learned two things. One thing I learned from my dad that he said to me, I remember he said to me once because I was always late.
Wow.
Hush. I was always late. Didn't want to be rushed. If you tell me 7:30, it's going to be 8 o'clock.
8:30.
When Dad said we were going to be downstairs in the lobby at 7:15, 7:45, and I'm still upstairs.
9:30.
So this one time, he had to be downstairs for a certain time, and I was not yet downstairs. So he got upset. And someone said, he said to me on the phone, calling from the lobby, he said, leaders don't lead from behind.
Wow.
If you say you're going to be there at a certain time, you need to be there first. Or if you say you're going to be there on time, you need to be there on time.
Wow.
It's almost as though me telling you to do something, but I don't do it. Or it's almost, I'm encouraging you guys to do something, but yet you don't see that example from us.
Yes.
And so I've actually been living by that principle. And the other one is attitude is everything in leadership. My dad used to respond to people in a way that I've only seen Jesus respond.
Wow.
And it was that, you know, someone can stab you in the back and you turn around and hug them with that stab, with that knife still there.
That's good.
Someone can call you a name and you turn around and say, man, but I still love you. Like, that was my dad. People would, to me, they would lie to him. They would just blaspheme against him. And he would still show this love. People would not do things right in the business. And, you know, instead of me, I want to chop you off at the throat. You do the same thing 3 times. Okay, now you're just a deficit. But to me, to him, it was all about relationship. It was all about giving people that second, third chance. And so I've developed this attitude to where sometimes you just don't respond. Or when you do, like Mr. Moore said, you know, there's something that I'm now seeing that other people don't see.
Yes.
And so people just need time. So attitude, and leaders don't lead from behind.
Thank you.
If I may, I think to give you the coinage from Dr. Monroe that Chiro spoke to, he said, making a decision is easy. You have to first consider the consequences.
Yeah.
And if you do that, then making a decision is easy. So Dr. Monroe was filled with this type of wisdom. One of the takeaways and one of the applications that I use in my day-to-day work is, and even at home, I tell my sons that the reward for hard work is hard work.
That's good.
The reward for leadership is leadership.
That's good.
It's a principle that keeps me humble. It's a principle that says that if you put hard work into the deal, don't expect anything other than the hard work.
Yes.
When that hard work pays a dividend, it will depend on your level of stewardship. So for me, leadership, the reward for leadership is leadership.
Thank you.
These guys pretty much covered it. I guess the principle for me is this, and maybe not necessarily a principle, but I learned this from my dad, and that is people are expendable. Like, do not hold on to one person too long because of a relationship. He's your cousin, he's your family member, he's a lot of times people are ill-willed. And what he told me was, when you hire someone, it's a guess, right? Yeah. But when you fire someone, you know. Be quick to fire someone. Don't hesitate. If this person's a bad seed, a bad apple, this person's trying to make your business a competition with him, you have some people who do that, you remove people. And a big thing for me was removing people immediately who were not bringing anything to the table.
Wow, thank you.
One thing I've learned about leadership when you're managing people is focusing on the strengths of that individual. Sometimes you may hire someone to do a job and you find that they are exceptional in one area and not as great in another area. I would say encourage them to be the best that they can be at that strength that they have, instead of criticizing them in an area where they are weakest, because people really respond to praise.
That's good.
And they will go above and beyond to get the job done if you show them that you value them and you see their talent.
Thank you. And then taking a note from Jamal and Karen, I'm speaking into existence. One day, I may be able to answer that leadership question from the panel. Thank you.
Pastor McDuffie from Paterson, New Jersey. You know, when I met Dr. Maslow in 1990, it was a videotape that was given to me by Tracy Johnson, The Power of the Purpose. And that was the first time I saw a brother use a Time magazine and preach from. I was completely blown away, being raised sometime in a traditional Baptist church. I said, he used a Time, and it threw me off at first. So here's the question I want to ask all of you. The job of the church is to evangelize the world and make disciples. How are you in your area doing that in your different thing? Because people think to win souls, you got to be in church on Sunday, quote King James verse scriptures. How does your calling or your career bring folks closer to Christ, encourage them, and stay away from the compromising principle. How does that happen? How do you find yourself doing that?
I can answer it pretty easy. I don't believe in religion. I'm not a religious person. My relationship is with God. My relationship is with Jesus. The confines of what people believe and what people believe religion is what's set so many Christians back. You know what I mean? So the same way I said it earlier, if I'm in the studio, I will not pass a point to express my light, for my chance to say something to somebody. But at the same time, I'm not beating down your throat, because you're not going to hear it like that. You're not going to get it like that. And if people, what you were saying is, we conform to the world. You know what I mean? We don't transform. Like, how's the verse exactly? But the Bible says, be conformed. Not. Well, regardless, we are the light in the world. And as Christians, that's our responsibility. You know what I mean? So your church could be in the studio. Your church could be at Sprint store. Your church could be at somewhere else. Don't let anybody define where your church is for you to spread your message. We go to church just to keep ourselves in line. I go to church for myself, but who am I going to share the word with when I'm going to church? No, everyone there already has the word. So for me, it's just about, letting people know how you stand and where you stand. And once somebody knows where you stand, they usually don't cross that line. So you don't have to worry about the pressures as much.
Yeah. And for me, I believe in Jesus. And I try to let people know that it's only by God's grace that I have been able to accomplish what I have accomplished thus far. Everything that I am, I have prayed. Like, I would get on my knees and pray and cry. People may not see that, but that's what I do in the background. And on my personal social media pages, I share like my experience about God. So that's the way that I feel that I am sharing with my followers, that, it was God's grace that got me here. And they look at me like, oh, this girl is crazy, not another God post. But at the end of the day, I know it's only His favor and His blessing.
So for me, attitude and love, right? So quick example. So I'm a 9-to-5 social worker at the hospital. Love my patients, love my staff. I work in Jacksonville, Duval. So if you know anything about that area, I work with a bunch of non-church going, but very religious people. And so, but nonetheless, I love my staff. I love my employees. I love my team members. I love my patients, and I show them that in my attitude, in the way I respond to them, in the way I talk to them. And so when 2014, November 9th happened, I'm on the screen. And as far as they're concerned, this is the first time they're seeing me in this light. As far as they're concerned, I am Sharissa, AKA Shar, their social worker. That's all they know. They don't know what I do. They don't know who I am. That's all they know. Then this one day happens, and they see me on the screen. First of all, as far as they're concerned, I'm no longer with us, because the first news was I was also gone. And then they realized that, okay, that news was just a hoax. And so now I go back to work about 2 months later, and everybody is looking at me with different eyes. But the response I'm getting is, that explains it. That's why you're like this. That's why I like you. Or this is why you're so loving. That was actually really good to hear, because I didn't need to walk around with a Bible. I didn't need to walk around asking everyone, do you love God, and let's have this discussion. No, they were able to see it in the way that I talk and the way that I respond, in my attitude, but also the way that I just loved on them. And so they were like, oh, that explains it. And then you had some saying, oh, so that explains why you're never in town, or that explains why you're always traveling. Of course, I get that. I get those people as well. But again, they were able to see this difference. And so if people are able to see a difference between you and the next person who also claims that they're going to church, then that's it. But if you're looking, sounding, speaking, talking like everybody else, then there is a slight problem.
So there's a very simple principle that many of us who say who we are miss. And it's a principle called salt and light. influence, and whatever like means. The pastors will have to help me. So, if you are salt, it's not the fact that you're labeled salt that tells anybody who's making use of the salt that you're salt. It's what they taste. So to Teresa's point, I think we will do ourselves great evangelism if we learn to love people by influencing them based on the results that we produce in our own lives. So we have to go to get fueled up, and that's why fellowship is important. But that's not where the marketplace is. And the marketplace is right where you are planted to influence that environment. And if we see ourselves as an influencer of the kingdom of God and his principles and his precepts, we will draw conclusions like principles are principle.
No. These people sound so sensible. Okay.
Thank you, Jamal. Thank you.
Yes. My thing is, first you must believe in yourself and understand, not get so caught up in your work and think it's all about you. And then you become an exemplify what it means to show people that, I know that this isn't all about me. And then that's how you would get people following you and people who want to be like you. I mean, I don't know why people want to be like me, but anyway, I have a lot of people who would reach out to me and say, Jamal, you really inspired me. Because I'm always willing to share. I want to help somebody get to a level beyond what I can do. I meet a lot of portrait artists who say, hey, this is my work. And a lot of time I would give them materials that will make them better. I mean, I helped this young guy who was a portrait artist, and he did everything like me. I met his mother, and he was so embarrassed because she was like, Mr. Roll, this guy watched you on the video. He wants to talk like you. He wants to dress like you. Now, I know I dress sexy, so I can understand that. But he practiced all your drawings. He shaded just like you. So I saw this young man's work, and his work looked just like mine. So I gave him some material, and I was like, there's some stuff I purchased, and you this would take you to the next level. Now his work better than mine. So I like, he was me better than me. But it made me happy that, wow, I could see somebody elevate to the next level, and it didn't take anything away from me, because everybody, we have our lane. You think an eagle ain't worrying about a bee flying. I mean, all of us could fly together. All right? Not saying he's a bee, but, yeah. But thank you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Anish. I'm a therapist. I reside in Orlando, but I do represent a 242.
I need therapy, but okay.
Everybody needs therapy. I'm glad you said that. And it's such a taboo, especially in the Caribbean. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's simple as, okay, well, I work with somebody and I don't really know how to deal with this. You could talk to a therapist, and I'm pretty sure you can attest to that too, with Charissa.
All that just for me, She's talking to everybody, but you could talk to a therapist. I get it.
Absolutely. Therapists need therapists.
Okay.
Psychiatric need therapists as well.
All right.
You understand what I'm saying? So as a graphic designer, as a hair extraordinaire,
As an artist.
as an artist, we all could benefit from mental health. Because if the gut is not right, the mind is not right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? All diseases start in the gut. So if you ain't thinking right, how are you able to get out there and share your vision and help one another? So my question for the panel is, how do you deal with mental health? How do you woosah at the end of the day? When you're done working at 14 hours,
every mic
16
pointing to me? How do I do? Wow. Since I'm the crazy one, let me take a crack at it. Well, crack at it. Anyway. Well, for me, my profession is a very, mentally involved. Because I'm drawing a lot of crazy pictures, and a lot of times it shows. It really mental work, and I experience mental fatigue. Like, people say, wow, I'm tired, I need to rest. Like, but what you do? You sit and you drawing all day. I on a construction site, lifting blocks and cement. You talking about you tired and you sitting up in air conditioning all day. But it's mental fatigue. So sometimes, like, I do a lot of traveling, and it's so sad that after I do whatever I have to do to perform, I spend the rest of the trip in a hotel room just sleeping, because not that I'm a lazy guy. I mean, I'm an energetic guy. I ain't, muscular like Charo and thing like that. But
why you always picking on me?
you're an exemplar, man. You're who I want to be like. So
I got you, though.
I spend all of that. Sometimes it's good for me to keep my sanity. Well, I'm working on it. I don't know how much sanity it is, but I sometimes gotta just take time away to unwind so I could stay, at bay mentally for the most part. Trying, working on it.
I think for me, I take designated times off. Like I have built-in time off in my schedule, whether that's, and then I listen to my body as well. Like your body lets you know when it needs to take some time. So I'll take a day, I'll take 2 days, whatever it is.
Boss.
But jeez, Jamal.
sorry for that.
You're killing me. But yeah, I really do build in rest because it's very important. It's important for you physically. It's important for you mentally, and it's just a part. It should be a part of your everyday life. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I wanted to ask, because usually everybody is promoting, you got to do the hustle, you got to do the grind, but nobody talks about that side, and it's very vital. So that's why I asked.
Even with, people say, oh, rest when you're dead, or
Right,
like those
exactly.
type of cliche things, like they sounded good in the 90s.
Yeah.
And if you notice, everyone that stuck by that in the 90s are having a horrible time now mentally,
Exactly.
in this day and age.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that's something that we need to unlearn and really start to work on ourselves and take rest, because rest is important.
Because it does catch up with you. Like 10 minutes ago, Teresa caught me in the back of the speaker's room sleeping. I was, so when I saw, I came up like, yeah, man, I just was meditating for this panel. But, because of my lack of rest, I've just been working the last, for this whole year, just working. It really do catch up with you. So, it is some good advice to be a boss and take some time to rest.
Earlier I mentioned being wealthy and not just rich. And that's a part of being wealthy. So rich, you can have all the riches in the world. You can have all the tangible assets, the cash. But if you're not physically healthy, if you're not mentally healthy, if you're not emotionally healthy, spiritually healthy, you're not wealthy. And so I think where is she? I think, and I don't want to talk about this because I'm a social worker, so this is going to be forever. But I'm going to make it quick. I think we confuse...
I don't want to talk about this, but as I talk about it.
I think we confuse mental illness with mental health. Okay? It's mental illness that's the taboo. And so because people, they muddy those lines, no one wants to talk about mental health. Mental health is no different than your physical health, than your business health, than your emotional health. So whatever you do to make your business flourish is exactly what you do to make your mental healthy. Exactly what you do to go to the gym, to work out, to eat right, to make your physical healthy is the same thing you do for your mind. So yes, talking to someone, whether that's a therapist, whether that's a pastor, acknowledging the fact that, okay, I need to take a mental health day. Like they allow mental health days at jobs because people get burnout, they get discouraged. A mental health day is just you not coming to work that day, staying home, relaxing, doing something fun, doing something different other than the grind, other than the mundane. One day though. We're not saying to take forever. And so the health of your mentality is very important. And mental illness, whether we want to believe it or not, I was doing some research, is actually very high. Mental illness is very high in people like us, who are entrepreneurs, CEOs, presidents, vice presidents. Their mental illness is very high. They suffer from depression, anxiety. Those are the ones that when you keep reading the papers, you keep reading it, then you're going to hear that someone committed suicide. And so success is does not equal good mental health. Not because someone is looking successful means that they are healthy. And so your mental health is going to be so relative to you. So what's going to make you mentally healthy is going to be different than the person sitting next to you. That's one of those blinders. Find your health for your mentality and get your mind right.
So very quickly, taking everything that everybody else has said, I do an exercise every morning before I leave for my office and just take a few minutes to meditate. I think we have the mechanisms, and Lord knows that I learned this the hard way, but particularly entrepreneurs or leaders of organizations, never start your day unless you spend some time meditating in the morning, and particularly making sure you check into the vision that you are carrying and you have clarity on it. For me, my meditation starts in the Word of God and prayer. But meditation also for me is checking in to the vision that God has given me to make sure I'm clear what He wants to accomplish that day. And it's amazing what you can accomplish in a day once you have that clarity in your thinking.
Well, Ethan, you said exactly what I was about to say, because that's basically I start my day. I just, before anyone is up, I just lay there and I pray to God, and I thank Him for all the opportunities He's given me, and I just give thanks for my family and give thanks for all the good things that are in my life, and that's a way to ground me and keep me humble. And I also value family time, so I'll have a day of the week where I don't do any work and I just spend time home with my family, because it's very important. Like all this financial success that you gain, there's nothing that replaces like the love of the people around you and pouring into them and spending time with them. So I think that is very important for your mental health too, to get that, love. Nothing replaces love.
For Miles and Charissa, like how do y'all manage the pressure of carrying the baton of your parents? And not only that, or how have you been able to manage that? I'm sure that there's probably pressure, particularly maybe with you, Miles, being a son and people looking at you and you too, but how have y'all been able to manage that pressure and just kind of find your own vision within what your parents passed to you? And then two, what do y'all have in vision for the future?
To question one, I'm still trying to figure that out. What that management looks like and what that balance is going to look like, hence my first 48. So that's me being very open and honest. And I think as, it's been four going on 5 years come November. So now I think I'm getting maybe a slightly better grip on what this is going to look like going forward for myself personally, and then also for the legacy of my parents. And my brother and I do have some vision for the Monroe legacy and what that looks like. And some of it, we have that we're working on now. Some of it is something that we'll get started in the future, which of course you will see roll out over time. But it's been very difficult trying to manage that, because I didn't have to manage that 4 years ago. They were very much here, and now there's this new life without them. But yet there's this life that they left us, and then there's also my life that I have to try and integrate, and I'm still trying to figure that out.
For me, there's no pressure at all. None whatsoever. For two reasons. One, because I don't try to be my father. And I guess the second reason is piggybacking off the first. And the reason I don't try to be him is because while he was here, he told me not to ever try to be him. Right? So there's never been a pressure from him or my mother to be like them or to do what they do. His thing for us was just to be yourself, tell your own story, and make sure you love what you do. And as far as the future is concerned, I do things that I love to do, and what I love to do I incorporate into what I do. So in a setting like this, part of my passion is empowering others, folks that are young like me or that look like me, all of us that are young like me, that look like me. You're still young, Mr. Moss. But I incorporate what I love to do. We have a few trips that we put on. We go to Israel, we go to Africa. We have 2 trips to Africa. That's because I love to travel. I love to go and experience cultures. And I love to create experience for others to do the same. Because there's this, we learn too much from what we hear as opposed to what we experience for ourselves. And it allows us to create our own experiences, create our own definitions of what things are in the world, right? So for me, and as far as the future is concerned, I hope that this event grows into something where it could be a traveling event, and we're able to go throughout the world and do what we're doing here today.
Thank you. Because y'all kind of, I look at y'all, and, you know, I got kids, and I kind of think, like, you know, when me and her mom do whatever, like my son particularly, he like to perform and he like to rap and do all that, but I'm like, you know, just like, man, you find you know what I'm saying? So when I see y'all, to me, that's like an example of when my kids get there, and it's something I can show them. You ain't got to do it just like daddy. You ain't got to do it just like mommy. You find you, man. So I just, you know.
Yeah, and I think what you should remember too is you probably won't know the effect that you have on your son. Like, my dad doesn't know the me that I am today, right? He knows what he taught me, he knows what he instilled in me, but the person that I am today, I became that person after he left. So, you know, just trust what you're doing with your kids. Keep teaching them and remember, keep teaching them, like Mr. Moore said, the principles is principle, right? As long as you instill in them the good principles in life, they'll be fine, man. They'll be fine.
Hi, my name is Steven from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I have a question.
Steven and they drove here from Minneapolis.
Right. Hey, thank you. Thank you.
Yo,
we had to be here.
Man.
I mean, thank you. Next, I have a question for Ms. Penniman, and I would follow that up whichever way you decide to answer. Do you feel as though you burned the bridge when you left your job?
No, I don't feel like I burned a bridge at all when I left my job, but I gave the job the best I could.
Okay.
And I knew within myself, if I didn't leave it at that point, I would not have went into my company full time.
Okay.
Right? And I also understood that at my job, if I wasn't giving them the best, I could be replaced.
Okay.
So I don't feel like I burned a bridge at all. I felt like I did what was best for me and what was best for my employer.
Okay.
At the time.
Yeah, I asked that because I've had, in the past, I've had to leave a job, you know, to do my own thing, and some part of me still feels a little bit guilty for leaving them because I felt like I had to do what was good for me. Mm-hmm. So in coping with that situation, how do you deal with that? How do you, obviously you're doing better for yourself today. Mm-hmm. Do you somehow feel like as though you owe them something by staying with the job? Not at all?
No, I don't feel like I owe them something because at the end of the day, most companies are in business to make a profit,
okay.
Right?
Okay.
And if they are not making a profit and I'm standing in the way of them, like my salary is standing in the way of them making a profit, they're going to let me go. And they're not going to think twice about it. They don't care about how you feel.
That's true.
So at the end of the day, you kind of have to look out for you. Because if something happens to you today or tomorrow, trust and believe they're going to find somebody to fill your position.
I agree.
Right.
And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you guys. And we loved being here and we couldn't miss it. So thank you.
Can I just, I want to give you a quote.
Okay.
That may help with the question that you're really asking.
Okay.
the CEO asks, the CFO asks the CEO, if we invest all this money in our people and they leave us, you know, what will that do to us? The CEO said back to the CFO, what if we didn't and they stayed?
Right.
Right.
Feel no guilt.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. We'll take 2 last questions.
Okay, Ayana Phillip here from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn in the house. So this message is for Miles Jr. You just made a powerful statement. You said that your father, first of all, I didn't get the opportunity to meet Dr. Miles Monroe, who is one of my greatest mentors after Jesus Christ. And you just said that your father doesn't know the person who you are today. And I've seen you, I've seen your wisdom as a young man. You know, you're just very intelligent. And what I want to ask you is, do you think the person who you are today, do you think you would still be the person who you are today if your tragedy didn't happen?
No. And the reason is because I'll be quite honest with you, my dad was my crutch, right? So there may have been a lot of things that I should have been doing and that I didn't do because he was here. And I was like, you know, I'm supporting him, I'm helping him, so I shouldn't focus or don't want to focus on, you know, things that are in me or, you know, so. And
I think out of that tragedy, it really brought out something in you.
Absolutely.
And, you know,
Absolutely.
and I see it.
Absolutely.
So
Thank
I commend you and Teresa for all the good works that you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right?
Hello. I'm Melissa McCartney Williams. I'm from Nassau, Bahamas. I own a company called...
Hey, Melissa.
I own a company called Cloud Bar Designs. I'm located in Orlando, Florida.
What's it called?
Cloud Bar Designs.
Cloud Bar.
I'm located in Orlando, Florida. I am the business owner and the designer. I am the one-woman band. And I am a people pleaser. My job, my end goal is to create experiences that people want. You know, that's their dream, and I'm facilitating that for them. It is my passion. I am passionate about it. However, sometimes it can become a nightmare for me, especially trying to just please people, give them what exactly they want and make them feel happy about it. So my question is, how do you guys, like all of this is daunting. I've had people come to me and say, you know, I want to get into the food industry, and they would say, oh, food is, it's so much hard work. But I see anything we get into as hard work. Now, in that process, I go through a lot of mood swings. I want to know what type of tactics you guys use to keep a positive attitude, because I really want to avoid passing that on to my client in the end, because I want them to come back. And my job, it's really hard to get return clients, because once I give them everything they need, they don't really need nothing else unless it's something smaller, you know what I mean? But they come to me for the big package one time. It's very strenuous, it's very stressful. It includes a lot of stuff like, you know, their branding, their website. I could create promotional items for events like this, and then I kind of tie it all together. But then in the end of that, you know, it's hard to get return clients. So how do you guys keep a positive attitude and not pass that off to your consumers or your, you know, the people that you're trying to make happy?
What you have to do is create a network, a positive network, because that's what I've done. Because being an artist is known in the country of the Bahamas. Everybody, for anything art, people call me and expect me to do it. Well, anything, people call and ask if how to bake macaroni, and they think I know how to do it.
Magician.
So yeah, because you know I'm know. So what I've done was, you know, I'm still creating a network of people that can do things that's difficult for me. For example, it was a time I would struggle with logos, Well, I could do logos, but I had a client that made me do a logo over, after she loved it, she showed it to her sister, and then she made like 20 changes. That took me, listen, I could have done a portrait would have made like $5,000 for a logo that I charged $500 for. So at the end of the day, I ended up just saying, I spent so much time on that, I ended up giving her money back and saying, in Jesus' name, keep all the logos, just go, you know, just to get rid of that. So now when people ask me for logos, I have somebody who, listen, an excellent person that do logos. I take all of that frustration will be on me and put it on them. And they love that struggle and they love that process. But in the end, I'm still able to satisfy a client with somebody with work that they're competent to do and they have the ability to do. And so I'm saying create a network for that could complement what you do, because it's a lot of things. I mean, if people ask for macaroni, I just send them to my mother. She makes some good macaroni, you know? So create a network, and that will help you, that would save you a lot of frustration.
And time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Charo, you could bake macaroni. Charo could cook, you know. Charo, tell them what.
Jamal. Well, I want to thank everyone. Well, actually, you know what? Let me let the speakers just say 30 seconds. One last word that you want to leave with the audience. We'll start with Jamal.
Wow.
30 seconds.
30, I can't count, I draw. But this was an amazing experience. Everybody that I've met has had such a positive response to my speaking. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm happy to have this experience. And hopefully, from our experiences, you know, you could learn something. I don't know what you can learn from me, but whatever you learn, I hope it make your life a better one. Thank you. And by the way, you could follow me at The Celebrity Artist. Cheap plug, but you know,
There
at
it
The
is.
Celebrity Artist. You know, promo.
This was definitely, like Jamal said, an amazing experience, and I thank you, Miles Monroe Jr. and the MEL Conference team for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed sharing my story with you guys, and I hope that whoever has a dream to do something, I hope that you start calling yourself whatever that dream is today. I spoke to a lady today, and she said that, you know, she's a realtor, but she's also a writer, and she's never called herself a writer. So I want you from today on to start calling yourself a writer and speaking your dreams into existence.
Ditto to everything that's been said. It's been amazing for me as well. As the elder statesman on the panel, so designated, I'm amazed that, you know, young people would listen to old people. I don't take that for granted. And I'm not old, but, you know, you are necessary. My message is you are necessary. But the real you has to show up. If the tarnished you shows up, you're going to get tarnished results back in your life. So please, go be amazing. The world needs you.
So just remember that after the first 48, there's the first 48 and then there's after the first 48. So take everything that you would have learned in your first 48 of whatever it is and make sure you delve in your after that 48 and actually apply it to that. Because that's going to be your now, let's get it done, let's work now, and let's actually grow from this point. So if you, again, we would like to see all of you back next year, 2020, but I encourage you to bring someone with you. You know, these are not because you've been here once before. They're going to be totally different speakers next year who's going to have a totally different set of insight that you actually want to hear. So don't look at Mel as, okay, I've been 1 year before, so that's good. So we'd love to see you and one other person next year.
Just thanks for everybody listening to me coming out. Just remember to make sure you talk to your neighbor. It's so important. I talked to so many people here today, and there's so much talent. Everybody is bringing something to the table, I promise you. If you don't talk to these people next to you, you guys are just leaving money on the table, I promise you. So make sure you network.
Thank you. So I want to thank my speakers. once again. Thank you guys for attending MEL. I hope that MEL has been a good experience for you guys. This is something that, you know, I have, I've been really excited about, especially this year. And, you know, in this venue and this location and the speakers that we had. And I'm satisfied with the results. So thanks again. Thank you, speakers, once again. Okay.